Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Chat with Corey for episode 2. I'm your host, Corey Scott. We'd like to thank everybody who liked and subscribed and commented on our video last week. And with that being said, if you are new today, like and subscribe. If you see something you like, comment. We appreciate it. I know a lot of the likes and comments and such were those things of families and friends. But hey, we appreciate anybody that's listening and all the support. And if you are new, thanks for listening. Today's episode, we're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to talk some Major League Baseball, some motorsports, some college basketball, college football, and then some local high school athletics. And then on the final segment, there is I saw a question on social media, and we'll get to that, and we'll try that out and see how it works and see what we think going forward. So let's get started. Let's jump right into it. First thing that I got for you, MVP, most valuable player, Major League Baseball. They announced the winners of those both for the American League and the National League last week, and we'll start with the American League. We'll start with the second place, the runner-up in the voting, which was Cal Raleigh, catcher, Seattle Mariners. Cal hit 247, 60 home runs, drove in 125. Your American League MVP, Aaron Judge, New York Yankees, right field, hit 331, 53 home runs, had 114 runs batted in. Aaron Judge has also been your American League most valuable player in 2017, 2022, and 2024. Excuse me. As we think about this, we a lot of people have said, can't believe Aaron Judge won. New York biased media chose Aaron Judge to be the American League MVP. Well, I have a different take on it. Cal Raleigh has had an outstanding season. Yes, Cal Raleigh had an outstanding season. But when you look at the numbers of Aaron Judge, can you tell me that he didn't have an outstanding season? And can you tell me why you would not have voted for him, other than you just don't want to vote for a New York guy or a Yankee because you don't like the Yankees? So both guys had tremendous seasons. But when you look at the numbers, yes, Cal Raleigh's numbers were deserving. But when you look at the numbers, yes, Aaron Judge's numbers were deserving. So Aaron Judge is your 2025 most valuable player for the American League and Major League Baseball. That's not to say that Cal Raleigh didn't have a great season, and I am pulling for Cal Raleigh to hopefully someday that he'll be the most valuable player in the American League, or who knows, the way things go these days, it could be in the National League. So, congrats to both of those young men on tremendous seasons. They both are exciting to watch. So then you shift gears a little bit and you go over to the National League. In the National League, you have a runner-up, Kyle Schwarber, Philadelphia Phillies, designated hitter. He hit 240, had 56 home runs, drove in 132 runs, and he stole 10 bases. But your winner of the 2025 National League Most Valuable Player, Shohei Ohtani of the Los Angeles Dodgers, designated hitter slash pitcher. Yes, pitcher and hitter. Ohtani hit 282, 55 home runs, drove in 102 runs, had 20 stolen bases, and he started pitching again this year after his second Tommy John surgery on his elbow. Once again, you can complain about Ohtani winning it. We don't like the Dodgers. We don't like the West Coast bias there. But once again, Can you tell me that his numbers were not good enough to be the MVP? Yes, Schwarber had a great season. Yes, Ohtani had a great season. So you can't compare and say that either one of those guys were not deserving. They both were deserving. The voters voted, and Ohtani won it, just like he did in 2021, just like he did in 2023, and just like he did in 2024. So congratulations to all four of those guys who put on a tremendous show for Major League Baseball fans this summer and fall. Well, I guess you would say spring, summer, and fall. And it's just exciting to watch baseball when you have four players at that caliber. Now, there are a lot of great players out there still, so let's not forget about them. We're gonna stick with the Kyle Schwarber theme. As we stick with the Kyle Schwarber theme, I'm just going to throw out a little nugget as a Cincinnati Reds fan here in Central Indiana. This is Reds country, is what they like to say. The Reds payroll for 2025 was $115 million, and Kyle Schwarber of the Philadelphia Phillies made $20 million for 2025. Where am I going with this? Well, the Reds, the last several years, probably the last 10 or 15 years, the last several times they've made the playoffs, the following year, they just stayed status quo, didn't make any big moves in the offseason, didn't spend any money, didn't bring anybody in to really improve from the outside. And then once again, they're out of the playoffs. They haven't been in playoffs in back-to-back years and who knows how many years. So my proposal, because we all know the Cincinnati Reds brass is listening to me, but I would say Kyle Schwarber is from Middletown, Ohio. Anybody who listens to TV broadcasts or radio broadcasts of the Cincinnati Reds know anytime they play Schwarber, they'll make sure to say he's from Middletown, Ohio, which is just outside of Cincinnati. And he did mention this late summer, early fall that he maybe would consider playing in Cincinnati. I think that could be a tremendous help to the Reds. I think it could be a big boost to the Reds. Will they do it? I don't know. But when you are talking $20 million added to your $115 million payroll, that's only $135 million. Yes, I said only $135 million, because when you get up to that number, it's apples to oranges at that point. And $115 million or $135 million is a far cry from what the Los Angeles Dodgers, who won the World Series this year, what their payroll was at $330 million this year. So as a Cincinnati Reds fan, as a baseball fan, I'm just saying, Reds brass, spend some money, go out, get this guy, bring him to the Reds, and just maybe, for the first time since who knows when, that the Reds could go to the playoffs for back-to-back years and have a legitimate shot of making a run and winning a game in the playoffs for the first time since 1995. So let's just jump right in. We'll jump right into some motorsports talk. Last week, John Force, the great drag racer, he decided he was officially retiring. In 2024, John was injured severely in a crash in Richmond, Virginia at 70, I believe 74 years young. And he announced just this week that he was not going to return to the driver's seat. He still will be around. He's a car owner, multi-car owner in the NHRA. He had 16 NHRA driver championships. He had 22 NHRA owner championships, and yes, the 16 where he actually was in the mix were a part of that as well. He had 157 career funny car wins in NHRA, so just a tremendous career. He's quite the character. Some may not like him, some might like him, but the fact that he sustained a career as long as he did and raced well into his 70s is pretty impressive, and was worth me saying that out loud. And then on my bingo card here, one of the things that I am extremely excited about, Junior Motorsports, which is Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his sister Kelly Earnhardt Miller. They are once again for 2025 are going to try, or for 2026, excuse me, are going to try to field a car for the Daytona 500. They qualified last year by racing in through the qualifying races. They're trying to do it once again this year in 2026. I bought me a t-shirt. I'll be rocking that t-shirt in February. Once again, it'll be Justin Allgaier driving the number 40 Junior Motorsports entry for the Daytona 500, and sponsored again by Traveler Whiskey, which is the brand owned by the country music artist Chris Stapleton. So very cool there. I'm a big race fan as well as basketball, baseball, so I had to throw that in there. Excited to see where that goes, and there's just a lot that goes into that, and the right opportunity had to present itself. Recording today's show on Thursday, as we had some technical difficulties yesterday. Tonight at 6 p.m., Indiana University basketball 4-0 will host Lindenwood. They had a bit of a struggle against Incarnate Word on Sunday. In years past, that might have been a game where they wouldn't have figured out a way to win, but they figured out a way to win. A lot of people have to remember, you have to remember that this team is all new coach, new roster, except for maybe one walk-on position. So these guys are still learning to play together. They're still learning what Coach DeVries is wanting out of them. And so, to struggle a little bit against what some would call maybe a lesser opponent, it is understandable. But you know what? The bottom line is they got to win. They'll know where they need to get better. They'll know where they need to improve. And when the rankings for the top 25 come out, they're just 2 spots out of the top 25. So, kudos to them. As a big IU fan, I look forward to watching them tonight and going forward and see what they can do this year, and hopefully make the NCAA tournament, maybe even make it to the second weekend, which has not happened for the Indiana Hoosiers in several years. We're going to jump into some IU football as well. IU football 11-0. Going for 12-0 on Saturday, November 29th. Next Saturday, what I like to call Thanksgiving Saturday at Purdue, the old Oaken Bucket game. We're hoping that they can pull that win off and finish their year 12-0. Excuse me. So we're hoping that they can do that, and we're looking forward to that. They should be in the college playoffs, or they should not the college playoffs. They should be in the Big Ten championship game, win or lose that game. And like I said, it's the old Oaken Bucket game. So you never know. You never know. Hopefully they, just stay pat and they finish the season 12-0. Currently, they are projected the number 2 seed in the college football playoff, and currently they're projected to play the winner of Alabama-Oregon. And so, that's exciting times. Who would have ever thought that IU would be playing the winner of Alabama-Oregon? We already beat Oregon once this year. Alabama's Alabama. Great program, arguably the best program in the country in college football. And even though Coach Nick Saban's not there, they'll be probably playing in the college football playoff once again. And the fact that IU would be getting that one step, we'll just have to go, just have to go see what happens there. But on December 6th, we're hoping to see IU play Ohio State University in Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship. We'll see how this all pans out. We'll jump now to Notre Dame and their football squad. Notre Dame 8-2. They play Syracuse this Saturday, the 22nd, at home, and then they'll wrap up their season Thanksgiving Saturday at Stanford. Notre Dame has to, in my opinion, they have to win those 2 games, and also, in my opinion, they're right on that cut line. Certain teams win, certain teams lose. I just hope that they can stay in the projected or stay in the college football playoff. Right now, they're projected to be number 9. That puts them in a bracket where they would play Oklahoma, and then if they won that, they would play Ohio State. So we're hoping that that Notre Dame could stay in the hunt as well. It would be really awesome for Indiana to have 2 college football teams rocking in it in the college football playoff, and they would not meet this year. They met last year in the college football playoff, but they would not meet this year the way it's projected currently until the final. So how cool would that be? Somebody like myself would have to decide, am I a Notre Dame fan or am I an IU fan? Always been a Notre Dame fan since at least since 1988 in the last national championship. Been an IU fan, although football-wise it's always been a struggle. So I root for both of those teams. Yes, I know the Purdue fans are out there saying, oh, typical IU basketball fan, Notre Dame football fan. Well, here's the deal. I get a lot of flack from people in Indiana because I don't root for the Pacers and I don't root for the Colts. So if I want to root for Notre Dame and I want to root for IU football, they're both in Indiana. So you can't argue that from both sides. You can't argue that from both sides. So looking forward to some college football, wrapping up the next couple of weeks and getting into that college playoff and just seeing how Indiana University and Notre Dame can fare and see, can we once again get one of them to the championship game of the college football playoff. Finally, before we jump into our local sports, I'd like to take a minute and recognize, yes, I'm going to do this. Purdue University's head men's basketball coach, Coach Matt Painter, won his 500th career game. Coach Painter, I'm a big fan of. I've been a big fan of him for a while. As a coach, I've heard him speak several times at coaches' clinics. It just has a lot of good things to say. If you hear his press conferences, if you hear his interviews on different podcasts and what have you, he just has a lot of good things to say. And he sees the game being played the way I see the game being played, or I see it the way he sees it being played. So let's get that straight. But we both grew up in an area, the same area. Coach Painter is from Muncie, Indiana. Went to Delta High School, which was just one of our rivals when I was growing up. He's about 6 or 7 years older than me, and I can remember watching him play against the Delville Broncos, my hometown, and rooting against him. And we would yell crazy things at Matt Painter while he was playing, but he was really good then as a player, and just been a tremendous coach at Purdue. Has them sitting at the top of college basketball right now, and they've been on a pretty good heater the last few years with success. And I just think he knows who he is as a coach. He knows what guys he wants, and that's who he goes out and gets. And they've had a lot of success over the last few years. Will I say that I'm a Purdue fan? As an IU fan, I don't know if I'll say that I'm a Purdue fan, but I am definitely a Coach Matt Painter fan and enjoy watching his teams play. We're going to jump into now our segment of high school sports locally here in Madison County, East Central Indiana, Delaware County area, Jay County area. Boys basketball Monday will be the first official start of boys basketball. I plan to go next Tuesday, the 25th, to Jay County and watch them face off against Fort Wayne Southside. And then on Wednesday night, I plan to go to Delville High School and watch the Delville Broncos host the Shenandoah Raiders. Exciting time for a basketball fan, especially here in Indiana if you're a high school basketball fan, and I'm looking forward to that opportunity. A lot of teams will be kicking off their season actually tonight and the next couple days as they are allowed to have their controlled scrimmage before official games start on Monday. I know Liberty Christian Lions are playing their scrimmage tonight at 6 p.m. at the Den. I think they're hosting Madison Grant. The Delville Broncos have their scrimmage tomorrow night Jay County High School has their scrimmage on Saturday. So a lot of the teams that I follow locally in high school basketball are getting things kicked off and underway, and exciting time. Like I said, love Indiana high school basketball. Former coach, loved every minute of it as a coach, loved every minute of it as a player. There's times where I'm going to miss it a little bit, but I'm excited to just sit back, be a fan, and go to those games that I enjoy. Liberty Christian's first actual game will be next Saturday, Thanksgiving Saturday, November 29th at Anderson High School. Big crosstown rivalry there. It was a great game last year. My son Ben and I attended that out at Highland High School, or the Highland Middle School, the former Highland High School, and we just enjoyed that. We had a great time out there. Not sure that we'll attend it this year, but that's exciting as well. One other note on the local high school sports segment here is Lapel High School will be playing for the semi-state championship and a chance to make it to Lucas Oil Stadium on November 29th in football. They're hosting Brownstown Central. There was thoughts that I, Corey Scott, would be attending that game just to check it out for a great atmosphere and excitement. But I'll be honest, I chickened out with the rain on its way. I think I'll just watch that through the streaming apps or just follow it through social media. It's only the second time that I know of that Madison County has had a participant in the semi-state. In 1987, Elwood won the semi-state and made a trip to the state finals. I'm not sure that any other Madison County school has done that. I could be a little off on that. I do know that Lapel's won more sectional championships in football than any other school in Madison County, which leads me to something that I was thinking this week. In my mind, Lapel is a basketball school. They've had a lot of basketball success over the years, state championships, what have you. Just an outstanding, strong program over the years in basketball. Certain schools, for whatever reason, I always just see them. I see them as, oh, that's a basketball school. Oh, that's a wrestling school. Oh, that's a girls' softball. That's a volleyball school. They just have their niche. I've always thought that about certain schools. But when I looked at it and I researched it, Lapel's won more sectionals than anyone else in Madison County in football. And, if they could make a trip to the state finals, they'd only be the second school in Madison County history to ever do that. Now, mind you, we've only had a Indiana High School Athletic Association football playoff. We've only had it since 1983. So yes, I know 1983 is 42 years ago. Yes, I do know that. But, we are well over 100 years on the Indiana boys basketball state tournament. So we just got to think about that. Exciting times for Lapel. Good luck to them. Good luck to the local community. If you're willing to go out and sit in the rain tomorrow night, go out, sit in the rain. If not, catch a controlled scrimmage somewhere the next few days. Go catch some high school boys action. Girls is well underway. Girls action is well underway. And really for what you're paying, it's about as good as it's going to get. Now, yes, the prices of high school athletics has went up just like everything else, but go out there, check out those things, and support your local high school athletes, as many of us have been high school athletes or high school coaches, and we just love the support of our communities here locally. So one final segment as we're going to wrap up today's episode. On social media the last few days, I just see things. I see people ask things, discuss things on chat rooms and social media. And the one thing that caught my eye here recently was, what advice would you give a young rookie coach? Now, I did not quite have the success that I would like to have had as a head coach, but there is some things that I wish I would have took a little bit different thought process on, and so I made the comment, and this was what I commented to this person asking this question. Most important thing as a head coach is to find the right fit for you as assistants. You need those guys to be loyal. You need to be bought in. You need to be, it ties with loyalty. They need to be able to be trusted. You got to know that they're not up there behind your back saying things to people, going to your administration, going to parents, talking to your players on your team, just turning the tide and not having that one solid unit of buy-in. There's always going to be different thought process. There's always going to be different ideas of way to do things. But when you are the head coach and you are not the head coach, you need to let the head coach run the show, do it the way he wants to do it. You need to stay out of it. You need to stay out of it, because what's best for the athletes and best for the program is not you sticking your nose in and screwing things up because you have opinions of what should or should not be done. And a lot of times it's parents, sometimes it's coworkers, sometimes it's coaches in your system. So I wouldn't be real close with parents. I would be very selective on who I'm going to ask to be my assistant coaches. And sometimes that's easier said than done, because not a lot of people want to coach. And there's a lot of people out there, as I've gotten older, as I'm 48 years old and I get older, there's a lot of people out there that you just can't trust. So I'm very hesitant on friendships. I'm very hesitant on a lot of things. I may be hesitant on those things to a fault, but it's happened to me before. People doing things behind my back and causing me a lot of heartache and headache throughout my season. I love the saying of the job was open when I took it. And if you wanted the job, you should have applied for it when I applied for it. Which that makes me smile and makes me laugh, because the last situation I was in where that took place, that person could have applied for the job when I applied for it, and they didn't want to. And so it's just interesting to see how people think, how people operate, and you just got to be able to trust them as a young coach. And you got to kind of stay to yourself a little bit and be careful what you share with people, because it'll be twisted around and people stick their nose in, and it's just frustrating. So as a young coach, if you're listening to this, what would I do as a young coach, or what would I tell a young coach? Just be very selective on who you hire and bring in to be your assistant, and make sure that they are bought into you and what you're trying to do, and that they're just not doing it for what they think is best for them. So that, in a nutshell, was our new little segment there of what we might add in here. Questions, comments, topics. I have a few topics that I like to get to at some point. I've got several things that I can add to just kind of discuss and ramble here at the last second. I want to take a minute once again and thank everybody that watched last week. I want to thank those of you who's watched today. Remember, like and subscribe down here. Comment down here. I've got a lot to learn. You may not like what I'm saying. You may not think I'm very good. That's fine. I don't care. This is for me. As I said last week, I will say it again. People, get out there, find those things you enjoy to do and do them. It doesn't have to be something that other people enjoy to do. If you enjoy to do it, get out there and do it. Because what matters most is finding those things you enjoy to do and doing those things that make you happy, and whatever brings you joy. That's where we're at. At 48 years old, I've learned that what makes you happy and what makes your family happy, that's what's most important. So remember that. Please, please, please remember that. Like and subscribe. Don't forget. Hey, I'm not sure that I will do a video next week for Thanksgiving week. I may do a video and recap the games that I attend the following week. But once again, thank you, everybody. I'm trying this. I know I've got a long way to go, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. And until next time, goodbye, everybody.